Alright, so I actually think the first thing that we are probably going to do now is, yes, we have some big stuff with Priority Rannoch and Rannoch Admiral Corps. That is probably coming very close to the top of our agenda. It is technically at the top of our mission summary list, yes. However, there's one or two other things that we may look to do before that. We may have unlocked some additional places that we can explore in the galaxy. That's a possibility that we try doing that. Alternatively, / in addition to that, we have talked a fair bit about many of the DLC-based missions that we've deliberately, for the most part, been holding back on for the time being, and waiting until what feels like a more appropriate time in the main storyline to take those on, since they are pretty flexible in terms of the timing. However, it might be right around time to at least get one of them started, get the ball rolling a bit, maybe not finish it in full just yet, but we do have what is actually turning out to be a pretty large list of DLCs that we have remaining at this stage, so probably something that we'd like to do soon. So, just take a quick look at our galaxy map here. Let's see. So yeah, we're still on Jelix, in Ere, which is where we were doing the quest here to save the Cerberus scientists, or former Cerberus scientists. And, okay, we have already recovered all assets here, so no exploration to be done here. This is where the mass relay is it not? Okay. For a second there, I was like, are we just going to be stuck here for the rest of our lives? Hopefully not. Okay, so that's Minos Wasteland 100% done. Still think we're going to be waiting a little bit before we do the Asari colony over here. But I just wanted to double check. We might have been looking at this somewhat recently, but are there clusters remaining here that we still have yet to explore, like Horsehead Nebula? I know some of these ones we saw before, like I think Aethon is where the Turian homeworld is, and Mane, where we had one of the early main quest missions, and then similarly, I believe the Anos Basin is where Surkesh is, the Solarian homeworld, which of course we also had a main quest mission in, and so I think that was an area that we've explored thoroughly, and just for whatever reason, there aren't any assets in there. Horsehead Nebula, there were a few clusters in this area, and the number of clusters in this area has increased, making it a little bit harder to distinguish which specific one this is, but I'm pretty sure this was where we had the mission with Grissom Academy, and we explored that, and for whatever reason, just another case of there just, for some reason, aren't any assets in any of those areas. So, I mean, there's a small chance that the number of places in this area that are accessible to us has now increased. Maybe we can find something in one of those new areas if they do exist, but I don't think that's urgent, because if that is the case, then there just probably isn't too much in that area. But it does look like we have explored pretty much all there is to explore here of the places that are currently accessible to us that we think have stuffs in them. So, maybe in that case, no exploration needed at this stage. However, there was a quest that I thought perhaps we'd like to just get started a little bit here. One of, in fact, the DLC quests. So let's head back to the Citadel. And of course, we'll go to the Citadel itself. So let's dock, but this time, we of course do have several different places we can go to. Alliance Docks is the primary Citadel location. All these other places are based on specific DLCs. Dr. Bryson's lab for the Leviathan DLC. Dock 42, I believe, is for the Omega DLC. And then Personal Apartment is for the Citadel DLC. So let's just take a quick... okay, I don't have a choice of going back to our list of quests right now, so I guess I'll just tell you which one I was planning to do. The answer is Dr. Bryson's lab. So getting things started a little bit on Leviathan. It is, fortunately, a DLC that is fairly easy to split up into little chunks, and so in the interest of seeing what this DLC is all about, and because I think it fits in pretty well at this stage of the campaign, let's at least get this started a bit. So as a reminder, there is supposedly a scientist here that might be able to give us more information on Reapers.
They contact the field teams for a progress report.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Commander Shepard. We've been expecting you. Just a moment. And Hadley, could you gather the Leviathan data for us? Apologies, Commander. The rest of my team is out investigating leads right now. I'm Dr. Garrett Bryson, and this is Task Force Aurora.
What's your assignment?
Our mandate is to investigate legends, rumors, old stories about the Reapers before anyone knew they existed.
Was that a picture of Thane on his wall? Because I feel like it might have been. Saw a Drell there, it looked an awful lot like Thane. Is he legend or rumor enough to warrant your further investigation? So again, this is the first component of the Leviathan DLC, or at least was a DLC in the original Mass Effect 3 game. Now, of course, in Legendary Edition, it's rolled into the base game. So, and this is a scientist that we believe might have some info, old stories about Reapers that might give us some insights as to how we might more effectively combat them in this war effort. So, I mean, is this kind of investigation necessary?
That's an interesting goal. But is anyone doubting the Reapers exist these days?
The Alliance is still desperate for intelligence. Reaper motives, their operational tactics. Anything that can give us an edge.
And how did you wind up in charge?
When the rest of the galaxy says something doesn't exist, I take that as a chance to prove that it does.
So you're a professional conspiracy theorist?
For the truth.
Sort of.
Even as late as 2148, humanity still thought aliens were a myth. That was within my lifetime. Once that myth was proven to be reality, our entire history changed.
Reapers were part of that reality too.
But even they have a history, Commander. If we could just uncover it, there may be a weakness we can exploit.
So yeah, I mean, that's the idea, is obviously we're pretty certain that they exist at this stage. No longer the rumor that can be dismissed. We've dismissed that claim. No, but any additional information that might give us insights as to how to more effectively combat the Reapers is welcome.
Could have used your help 3 years ago.
Yes. If people had paid more attention to your Prothean beacon, we might not be in this war. But now
Tell
with
us
the
about
information we've uncovered, a breakthrough's near. Hadley, do you have the data?
What's with the music? That's not good. Excuse me? What the heck?
This is Commander Shepard. I need C-Sec at my location, now!
You shouldn't be here. The darkness can't be breached.
Transit records show his name is Derek Hadley. He's worked here for a couple months.
Shepard, I monitored a C-Sec alert from this location. Were you harmed?
I'm fine. But I could use your help sorting this out, Edie. Take a look through their files. I need to know what this task force was up to.
At once.
What? What's happening?
Good question. Good question. You, just murdered your employer in cold blood. That's what happened. And yes, to answer that question, Steel Wolf, absolutely. Tally is our romance partner.
You tell me.
I was gathering our data when you arrived, and then it was dark. Cold. Like I was someplace else.
And then?
I don't know! A gun was in my hand. Dr. Bryson, there was a loud...
Nah, we won't take the renegade interrupt there. But yeah, that's what
I
happened.
didn't do it, it wasn't me! You have to believe that.
Well, see, the thing is, we were kind of standing right next to you when you did it, tried to knock the gun out of your hand as you were doing it. So it's going to take a little more than that to convince us otherwise.
So someone else pulled that trigger?
But I would never do that!
Commander, this does resemble reports of indoctrination.
Indoctrination? Me?
What about that Leviathan Bryson mentioned? How does that tie in?
It's some kind of creature. Our field teams have been tracking it. That artifact came in from our researcher, Garneau. He sent an audio log if you wanna...
Whoa.
What's wrong?
Turn back.
What are you talking about?
The darkness cannot be breached.
Damn it. Get him over to the clinic. See if they can tell us what's wrong with him.
Yes, sir.
Commander,
Is he still alive?
I want to see this. It's an outgoing message from Dr. Bryson to Admiral Hackett.
Dr. Bryson, you have an update? Admiral, the Leviathan of Dis that we've been investigating, I think we're really onto something. Give me the brief. About 20 years ago, the Batarians discovered a Reaper corpse that had died in battle. They covered it up and denied it ever existed. But I'm intrigued by the larger implication. What could have killed the Reaper in the first place? Exactly. That's the real Leviathan. It's worth pursuing. Continue your investigation and update me on the progress.
There is also a follow-up message from a few weeks later.
Admiral, the Reapers are shadowing my field teams as if they're hunting Leviathan themselves. Whatever it is, I believe Leviathan is nothing less than a Reaper killer. Almost an apex predator, and it has them nervous. If we could just find it, imagine the impact on the war. I'm formally requesting assistance in tracking it down. You'll have it. This is now your top priority, Doctor. Find that thing.
It appears we were meant to be that assistance.
Ah. Okay, well, Leviathan of Dis, that may ring a bell. That is, in fact, or we saw Dis, we explored that planet on Mass Effect 1, or at least we were able to read about it. We didn't actually land on it. But it was a location with supposedly some very powerful, ancient technology of some variety, very mysterious. Might have even had some people who had disappeared who were trying to investigate it further. Supposedly the Batarians were involved. They were apparently, according to this report that we just got, hiding some information about it. It was actually, according to this report, or at least suspected to be, a Reaper, a destroyed Reaper, which, as Hackett and Dr. Garneau was saying, how did it get destroyed? Because we'd like to know. We'd like to know. Yeah, you can at least locate the planet in Mass Effect 1. You can't land on it. There aren't any missions there, but you can read about it. You might be able to scan something on it. I don't recall. Might even be visitable in Mass Effect 2 as well, but you can read the description that tells you that there is some kind of technology, mysterious, powerful technology there that people have not really figured out, and so that appears to be the source of much of this information. And then earlier we saw some theories that Edie was throwing around that the assistant to the professor who, shot him, claimed that it wasn't him who did so, and then the whole thing where he suddenly was talking in a totally different voice, and his eyes rolled back into his head, and all that stuff. You know, as Edie said, does sound quite a bit like what we've seen and heard about indoctrination from previous experience, so that is very suspicious as well. So the mystery gets a little bit deeper. Okay, so, I mean, it does sound dangerous, for sure. And yeah, I mean, I don't think we're about to do Leviathan in full right now, but there, I believe, are some interesting things that, some dialogues, some extra dialogues that you can get if you talk to your love interest, your romance option, your significant other, if you bring them along with you for some of those missions. So we'll try to make a point of doing that when we're going on those missions, if I remember.
Anything capable of killing a Reaper could do a lot of collateral damage.
Yet, given the state of this conflict, I believe the saying, "The enemy of my enemy is my friend," may be relevant.
But we
You
won't
are
know
right,
unless
Edie.
we can find it.
Bryson's assistant did say they recently
Bryson.
received a log from their field researcher. It may yield more information.
Okay, so we need to find the audio log, which does appear to be right there. But first, let's just take a look, since I was not able to read up on this before we actually stepped into the lab. So Citadel Leviathan, before he died, Dr. Bryson requested to help locate the Leviathan, a mysterious Reaper killer. Search Bryce's lab for clues, so he seemed to have gotten to the point where he suspected something was up with this whole Leviathan of Dis thing, and requested Hackett's support, and Hackett was of course the one that reached out to us, asking for us to help, and that's why Edie was saying earlier that we were supposed to be the people that were intended to help Dr. Bryson, so that's why we're here. But with Dr. Bryson now presumably dead, if not grievously injured, I'm pretty sure he's dead, we may need to just pick up entirely where he left off.
This must be the artifact the assistant mentioned. And here's the log.
Dr. Bryson, it's Garneau. I'm sending you an artifact I found. About the only thing I found there, in fact. Maybe it's nothing, but I'd swear Leviathan came through here. I'm gonna crunch some numbers. Burn up the rest of this project travel allowance. Maybe I can project our Reaper killer's movements. I'll check in when I get to the next site.
Garneau appears to be our best lead to track Leviathan, but he does not state a destination.
Okay, so this other researcher who's working on the same project, we might need to find a way to track him down, because he's the next person who'd have the most information after Bryson was killed. So, it sounds like we're going to need to find a way to track him down. Yeah, and so it's not the... It's at least, there's a planet that is... Or Dis, the planet Dis, that's named the D-I-S. There was some kind of ancient, powerful technology there. I believe the assumption was that it was an old dreadnought of some variety. And so it was called the Leviathan of Dis. And so that is where a lot of this information is originating from here. That's where Dr. Bryson was doing the experiments or the research to get a sense to what this whole thing was all about. And now has passed the torch to Dr. Garneau. And so that's, it seems, where we're going to need to go is to find this guy.
Let's focus on what he does say then.
He mentioned extrapolating Leviathan's path.
And crunching numbers. He wasn't flying blind. He had data.
A significant amount of data, judging by this office.
So how do we narrow it down?
Bryson and his colleagues evidently used a galaxy map search program in their hunt for Leviathan. It may help us locate Garneau.
Okay, so we can take a look at the galaxy map here. We'll get a little bit of experience. And we'll get a little bit of experience there.
Where Garneau went?
No, but we may be able to narrow down his location if we find clues he was using in his search for Leviathan.
Okay. So yeah, that's a lot of spots to potentially find this dude. So let's look around and see if we can find any other clues. Prothean artifacts.
Is this Prothean?
Yes. I believe Dr. Bryson and Liara would have had much to discuss.
Can you add a search filter
It's unfortunate
for
then.
locations known to have Prothean ruins or artifacts?
Adding the search filter, you may examine the results on the galaxy map program.
Okay. That's one thing we can consider adding. Let's continue to look around a bit here. Wait, hold on. This has got to be the place where there is that picture I was saying that looked like it had Thane. Do you recognize any of the faces here? Hold on. Some things that look very unfamiliar, like what is that? The thing that is now directly to the right of Shepard's head? What is that? I don't recognize that species, whatever it might be. This is what I was referring to. That looks an awful lot like Thane. Am I crazy? I'm pretty sure that's Thane. Pretty sure that's him.
These are all murders in which the accused lacked a known motive and claimed memory loss.
Just like Bryson's assistant. You think Garneau was following a trail of blackout crimes?
It is possible. We need to find data matching dates and locations for crimes of this nature.
Okay. That's perhaps another thing we might consider.
Here's the time and date chart for the crimes. Can you filter for murders where the killer claimed memory loss?
Adding this search filter to the galaxy map,
Okay, so yes, our investigation here continues. Does seem to be what this is going to turn into, so we can activate those filters. But before we do, let's see what else we can find, because I suspect there may still be more. Also, there's this Bryson experiment. Brace yourselves. It does appear to be a husk head. And, you know, just makes a little bit of noise. Makes a little bit of noise. Okay. There's more out here, though. Including pistol cranial trauma system, which actually is a totally new kind of upgrade that we've not yet seen. I don't even believe it is available in shops, at least maybe not until you start doing the Leviathan DLC. It is specifically something that gives you additional headshot damage. The multiplier is quite large, but it comes with the catch of, okay, sure, you get all the damage, you just need to hit people in the head, so of course it takes greater precision. High velocity barrel, we've seen those types of upgrades on other weapons, but that is, I believe, the first time we've seen it for an SMG. Again, I believe this is the only place you can make that happen. Rapid transit we could use to get out of here, but that I don't think is what we're trying to do at the moment. Nice view of the Citadel. Nice spot you got here. Can't lie. A little jealous. Ooh. And pistol ultralight materials. Again, something that we've seen on other weapons, but I think only becomes available for the pistols here in the Leviathan DLC. Let's head back inside, and this is actually a different section of the lab. We were originally in that room over there. Now we're over here. And it seems there's still more for us to investigate here.
Sir, this is Bryson. We know the Reapers are after Leviathan. Studying Reaper hunting patterns could be vital to finding it. That data is classified top secret, Dr. Bryson. If it falls into the wrong hands, it won't. The data's encrypted. I'll keep the decryption key safe. Close to my heart.
Is that a pun?
Close to his heart. What the hell does that mean?
Or tongue-in-cheek? Is it actually on his heart? Thanks for stopping by, Steelwolf. See you around.
The Reaper fleet activity is encrypted, per Bryson's statement in the log.
He said he was keeping the decryption key close to his heart.
That sounds like a hint. Coincidence? I think not. Then, whoa, hold on a second here. So yeah, probably either like on his dead body, or if he has like a picture of his loved ones, his family, close to heart, metaphorically speaking, perhaps. But Sovereign Fragment, that's a pretty big deal.
Sovereign, vanguard of our destruction. How's that working out for you, big guy?
Mass Effect 1 quote for you right there from Sovereign. Shepard remembers. Sovereign trying to trash talk us. Oh. That is it looks like a dinosaur skeleton of some variety.
Loch Ness Monster?
Plesiosaur.
Loch Ness
So-
Monster is more interesting.
Loch Ness Monster, yeah.
Interesting and non-existent.
Debatable. Debatable. And by that I mean, if you say that it doesn't exist, you are objectively incorrect. Not entirely sure what that switch does yet, but creature sightings.
Bryson was tracking unexplained creature sightings.
The photographs have a trace chemical residue. It may be visible under another light source.
Ah, okay, that explains this. Yeah, no, he's got, quite the notes here. Can we actually make any sense out of this? Negative? I don't know if that's like that's just a number? 59881 minus C? Or is that supposed to be words? Because his handwriting is atrocious. It doesn't help. Asteroid field. Mineral. Can't tell what that second word is. WOTS? Have better handwriting, dude. And some math equations, math equations, math equations. I would love to say that I recognize some of these. I don't. Maybe these are actually legitimately astrophysics equations of some significance, but no, they're lost on me. Moon. I know what that is. That I can tell you about.
Bryson was not merely tracking sightings. He was attempting to extrapolate a course.
And Garneau could have been following that course.
Oh.
Can you add a search filter for systems along that projected path?
Adding the search filter now.
Okay. A little more experience, another filter that we can potentially use. So again, all these filters are ways to narrow down the list of potential places where this Garneau, the next researcher that we'd like to track down, might be. Since we know that this person is trying to find this Leviathan, but could be in any of a number of different places all across the galaxy. So then we've rocks.
Meteorite fragment, maybe?
He was studying it as an object of importance. We should look more closely at a sample.
Okay. I thought you were going to say, no, they're just rocks.
Meteorite sample. With traces of element 0. Would Leviathan need ESO?
While it is not consumed as fuel during FTL travel, element 0 will decay after several centuries of active use. If Leviathan is old enough, it would need to replenish its supplies.
Okay. Can you give me a search filter for locations with element 0?
Adding it now.
Alright. Another filter. A little more experience. Also, SMG Mass Pulse Recoil System. Which we do have a few of those. That is the stability modifier, or increased stability for SMGs. We're actually usually looking to put that on our Hurricane, so that's a nice one for sure. Then what do we have here?
March 7th, 2186. I'm looking at the Rachni. Their movements during the Rachni Wars suggest alien influence. But the timing is wrong. And Rachni weren't implanted with Reaper tech. What if Leviathan was preparing the Rachni to fight the Reapers?
Whoa.
What do you think, Edie?
That sounds out there.
It is possible that Bryson's team is using ancient Rachni fleet activity to find Leviathan. If we can find data on the movement of ancient Rachni ships, it may help us narrow our search.
Okay. Okay. So...
Those appear to be sightings of ships that match Rachni signatures.
Can you add a cross-reference for locations of sightings?
Doing so now.
Perfect. Add that one to the list. Then we have a picture. As I was saying, the whole way to decrypt the codes or the information that we were getting over here being close to heart did seem like perhaps it might be a photo or maybe a picture made by a loved one.
By Anne Bryson. Age 9.
Records indicate Anne is now 28. She works for the Alliance.
Bryson was keeping the encryption key close to his heart. What's closer than family?
Exactly.
An interesting hypothesis, but I detect no trace of the decryption key in this art.
Edie's like, I hesitate to call this art. Okay. Anything else in this corner? That certainly does look like a familiar shape that we are seeing right here. That looks an awful lot like a Reaper. Doesn't seem as though there's anything for us to check over there, though, so I think that we have, perhaps, caught everything here. Oh, except PDA. Let's see. The Thorian, that should ring a bell. That is, of course, one of the primary things that we encountered on Pharos in Mass Effect 1. August 17th, 2185. I believe that is this year, but I don't know what the date currently is, so I can't tell you exactly how long ago this was, but pretty recent. The Thorian, a life form discovered on Pharos, provides fascinating insight into the life cycle of a truly alien species. Unlike conventionally intelligent life, it does not use mass relays. Protein artifacts would not interest it. Commander Shepard claims that Reaper enemies cultivated life to evolve along lines they could predict, using technology the Reapers controlled. The Thorian is an exception to that rule. It evolved to use organic tools rather than conventional technology. That is true. We've, of course, not really seen much outside of the Thorian that has used mind control to use organics as a way to further its goals, other than want to include the Reapers in that group, I suppose, and that's why Saren was researching the Thorian to begin with, because of those similarities. Leviathan must be somehow similar to have survived undetected for so long. That's true. So I guess the point here is that you would assume that that would catch the Reapers' attention, that the Reapers would want to seek out this oddly very powerful plant that was the Thorian, and similarly, if the Leviathan is also very powerful, the Reapers would want to get rid of the Leviathan. So, yeah, must be somehow similar to survived undetected for so long. The Thorian used pain conditioning to control its victims, which is very similar to what we saw with the research assistant, who seemed as though he was in a whole lot of pain when that second voice came in and gave us the dark, foreboding warning that, don't investigate this, go away. Using them as manual labor, or even as a man would use his own hands and fingers. Commander Shepard claims that Reapers do the same thing through a different process called indoctrination, although potentially very similar. Whatever Leviathan is, it must do something similar as well. Ooh, okay. I suppose that is another reason to be wary of this Leviathan. And what do we have in here? Bathroom? Nothing to do with that PDA. Or the toilet, or the shower. Doesn't seem... Edie, give us some privacy. Come on. Alright, there is a second floor, though. Let's check that out. What is this? Another picture.
Another piece of Anne Bryson's childhood art.
Wait a minute. Well, take a look at that.
I can use these numbers to construct a decryption key.
All right, let's get back to the data pad we found earlier.
Okay. Why don't we do that, and then we'll head up here again and see if there's anything else? Actually, I mean, while we're up here, why don't we just take a quick look? It's an audio log.
Dr. Bryson, per your request, I'm clearing Task Force Aurora for intercepted Batarian communications regarding the Leviathan of Dis. Commander, the Dreadnought is in custody, but the Solarians may have surveillance footage. Our ambassador will issue a full denial. Give me your preliminary analysis. Several million years old at least, and its technology outstrips anything on the Council. Excellent. Our scientists will work day and night to bring its secrets to the hegemony. I'm concerned, Commander. The real Leviathan of Dis, the thing that destroyed the ship, is still out there, unaccounted for. Irrelevant. The ship is our priority. And as far as the rest of the galaxy is concerned, there is no Leviathan of Dis. There never was.
Very, very interesting little snippet there of information. So, the Leviathan of Dis, technically there was this dreadnought that got destroyed, and that was the thing that people noticed next to Dis, and so got named the Leviathan of Dis. However, we've now learned that that was actually a Reaper that got destroyed, and the real Leviathan, the thing that actually destroyed that Reaper, presumably is still alive, or at least survived that encounter and has run off somewhere else. So that's still at large, and so that's the thing that the Batarians have discovered, is they've said, we now know that this Dreadnought, this Reaper in fact, has amazing technology that we're just going to keep it secret. We're just not going to let anyone else know that it exists, or at least know that we have understood what's some more details about it. And they're also not gonna let people in on that whole part where the actual Leviathan, the thing that destroyed that ship, is still out and about somewhere. So the Batarians knew about it, and the Batarians were researching it actively. So that is a very interesting little detail there. Hold on. there's Dr. Bryson and someone else. Okay. So, that does appear to be everything up here. Can we just chat to Edie while we're over here? No, we cannot. So, let's head back down and try to decrypt that data. It was over here.
Decryption complete. Analyzing data. These movements do not match the standard invasion pattern. The Reapers are searching for something.
I bet Garneau used this intel. Can you make a search filter for it?
Of course.
Okay. So there's Reaper activities as another thing that we can now research or use as a filter when we are searching for stuffs here. I believe that we may have now found everything. Let's see. So we have all of our various filters. We have Reaper activities. We have Prothean activity. We have locations with element 0. We have Rachni activity. We have blackout crimes. And we have creature sightings. So these are all the ways you can potentially narrow down all the potential spots where we might find this Dr. Garneau, who's the person that we're trying to find, because it's the person who seems to know the most about this Leviathan, who is still alive. So one thing you can do here is every time we activate one of these,
Activity.
we'll see the locations
Based on the search
marked with that.
results, Garneau is in one of these 5 systems. I have marked the Normandy map with possible locations. We can leave now, unless you wish to further narrow the search.
Exactly. So, you can, after just activating one filter, go out, explore the galaxy, and you have a sense of where Garneau may be. However, we of course have these additional filters we can use as well. If you don't find all the filters in the lab, then maybe you just use one or two. But we can continue to apply more if we'd like, and you also saw that we got actually a pretty sizable chunk of experience for activating them. So what we'll do is we will deliberately activate all of them specifically so that we get all that experience. And again, you know, like you could, at this stage, head out after having used just one of those filters, and you'd have a lot of potential places to explore where you might find this professor, this doctor. But ideally, at least in terms of efficiency, you would narrow it down so that you know precisely where he is. But like I said, we're going to activate all these.
Artifacts.
Get all the experience.
No results. Some of our search parameters may be irrelevant.
Because, as you see there, some of them actually do not help. But you can activate them anyway in order to give you a little bit more experience. So, still worth doing for that reason.
Element 0 deposits.
No results. Some of our search parameters may be irrelevant.
Again, not so helpful here. And so, I mean, we can, now that we've activated, deactivate the ones that we know are not actually
5
effective.
possible systems.
5 possible systems at the moment. We have Rachni activity.
Rachni activity.
No results. Some of our search parameters may be irrelevant.
Okay, so no good there.
Element 0 deposits.
Oh, I did not mean to do that. That was supposed to be deactivating the Rachni.
No
We know that
results.
neither of those are
Some
useful.
of our search parameters may be irrelevant.
And I thought that we still got experience
3
from
possibilities.
even having the ones that are not correct up there. Although I didn't see
5
the
possible systems.
experience number pop up. Maybe we can do a little bit of a check here. See, there's a noticeable difference. Not sure if we'll be able to tell with this number though. Blackout crimes.
Blackout crimes.
No results. Some of our search parameters may be irrelevant.
Okay, so let's take that one off.
5 possible systems.
And now, lastly, let's go creature sightings.
Alien sightings.
Three possibilities.
Okay, there is some overlap here. Yeah, not seeing the experience pop up. And I can't tell if that went up or not. I thought you got one every time you activated one of those filters. But what we can do is there is actually one that I deactivated that I meant to keep up. So Reaper activities seem to work. Creature sightings seem to work. The other one that I believe did work was actually the Element Zero locations.
deposits.
We have a match, marking the galaxy map.
And there you have it.
Let's go find Garneau.
We have our spot. That spot right over there, we do get some experience, and in the original Mass Effect 3, there was actually an achievement for activating all the correct filters at the same time and having none of the incorrect filters active, so basically getting a perfect search like this. So again, that is Reaper activity, Element Zero locations, and the mysterious creature sightings are the 3 correct ones. The other 3, the Blackout Crimes, the Rachni, and the Prothean activity, those 3 not useful outside of just potentially giving you the additional XP. So if you're doing the base Mass Effect 3 game, then these are the ones you want to have active to get the achievement for it. But in Legendary Edition, the achievement no longer exists, so no big deal for that. But just so you know, those are the 3 you're looking for. The Huskhead agrees. And with that, that means that we have now done everything that there is to do here in the lab. See if that gives us an update for the mission here. It does. Leviathan, find Garneau. Alex Garneau is the best source of information about the Leviathan. Search possible locations across the galaxy to find him. So again, if you did not fine-tune your search, all you need to do is activate one of those filters and you can search all the various locations and see if you can find him. But if you do fine-tune your search, eventually, if you do it perfectly, you will have one specific spot where you know that Garneau is located and then go straight there. So let's head back, and I think we either can go to the Normandy, or do we have enough monies at this stage that we feel as though we might be able to purchase something? Maybe some weapon upgrades. Perhaps? Hold on a second. How much money do we have? We actually have a lot. We actually have a whole lot. Tell you what, let's do it.